Hey everybody, Spencer here from Constructive Criticism and Limited Time Only, two podcasts about getting better at Magic the Gathering here on the Constructive Criticism YouTube channel. And today is the day I typically, well, actually it's the day after I typically record, with Christmas going on and stuff. And I'm just here thinking about what I wanted to talk about this week. And a long time ago, I talked about doing a video about being bipolar and trying to qualify for the Pro Tour and things like that. And that was right after I had qualified for my first Pro Tour. And I had tried to do the video a couple of times, and it was really hard. It got really emotional. Things were. It's just a hard thing to talk about, your own mental health. But we are going to talk about that today. The reason that I decided to finally do it is one of Hollywood's biggest mental health supporters, and one of the people that speaks out for mental health and trying to get people help for their mental health. Carrie Fisher passed away today at age 60, and for many Magic players, Star Wars and Carrie Fisher are a huge part of their lives. And people say you shouldn't be saddened by celebrities dying. You didn't know them, and yeah, that's true. I didn't know Carrie Fisher, but I would definitely say that Star Wars had an impact on my life, and through Star Wars she did, and especially once I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, she definitely had an impact there in my life. Fighting for people who have mental disorders, and so I just wanted to honor her today by finally doing this video I'd talked about for so long that's really hard for me. Before we get too far into my story, I just kind of want to talk about the importance of mental health and recognizing where you're at. You know, Oftentimes people don't recognize mental health as a sickness, and with different things, and that's really hard because there's this stigma. When you see somebody with a broken leg, you can see that their leg is broken, but when somebody has something wrong up here, uh, it's a lot harder to see, and a lot of times it can be taken as to they're just stupid, or they're a bad person, or they're evil or mean or loud or annoying, whatever it may be. Sometimes it's not that. Sometimes it's they're actually sick, and it's important that we recognize that, and that you recognize where you're at with your mental health. Otherwise, your life can be a lot harder, and get the help you need. There's plenty of places out there that it can help you, and I just want to make sure that I preface this video by saying, if you're having trouble or if something is wrong, reach out to me. I'd be happy to talk to you, and yeah, so there's plenty of resources out there. I'd recommend that you find the ones near you and do what you can to keep yourself healthy, because it's really important. It can cost you your job, it can cost you friends, it can cost you relationships. So always make sure that you mentally are where you need to be. So I want to kind of talk about my story and share with you guys kind of my journey into through my mental health issues, and how it relates to MTG. We're gonna start from before I became a Magic player. So when I was a very young child, um, diagnosing kids with ADHD was all the rage. They were giving out Ritalin like candy to kids to try and get them to calm down, and I was one of the kids that was diagnosed with ADD and ADHD, and my life was it made me really small. I just stopped growing. It didn't help. I was hyper all the time, and I eventually got put on Adderall and different medications that they use for that kind of stuff all throughout high school, even up to my junior year, and it never helped. And when I was a junior in high school, near the end of my junior year, I got into an altercation with a police officer, where we got into a physical confrontation. And from that, when I went to court, my parents, to keep me out of jail, they told the judge that they were going to send me to a mental health facility to see if that could help. And so I lived in a mental health facility for 3 months. Stayed at the mental health facility and got better for I think 11 months. No, it might have been less than that, but either way, it was almost a year. And in that time, I was told I didn't have ADD or ADHD, and that I had bipolar disorder, and that they back when I was a kid, they didn't diagnose people under the age of like 20 with bipolar disorder, so they couldn't have caught it. and they changed my meds up. I grew, I gained. Now I'm fat, but back then I was really skinny. I gained 70 pounds in about 3 weeks and grew about, I want to say, like 5 inches in height in that short of time. The second they took me off those medications, and so slowly I started to see the difference in myself. Um, Adderall is very similar to something like meth, and it basically is meth. And giving a kid with bipolar disorder meth basically is not a mix for good. It caused a lot of trouble in my life, in my family life, in my relationships, in my friendships. I had a very hard time keeping friends as a child. And shortly after getting out of rehab, I behavioral rehab. I went back to high school. I graduated, made some new friends, and I had always played Magic as a little kid, and really enjoyed it. I made lots of friends playing Magic, but I never played competitively. I didn't do many things competitively as a kid. I couldn't do it, and as I had grown older, and on this diagnosis, I found that I was able to start doing those kind of things. I started playing basketball all the time, which I would never have done as a kid. I started playing Magic. I joined an airsoft team, things like that. And, this is when we transitioned into the part of playing Magic the Gathering. And getting in competitive Magic, being bipolar, very new bipolar, really, was pretty hard, actually. There's a couple of things that bipolar disorder can do to you that would make Magic a little bit harder. One of the huge parts of having bipolar disorder is racing thoughts. So oftentimes I'll be sitting with my wife and she'll say something and then I'll say something else. And she'll be like, how did you get to that? And I'll go through 15 steps of thoughts that I had in 1 second to get to the point where I said what I said. And she's always like, why? I'm sorry. Like, how do you deal with this? And it's just my life. And this happens throughout games of Magic all the time. And it can be really hard to get better at Magic through having these thoughts racing through your head all the time, and things like that. The other thing that can be really hard in Magic when you're bipolar, and for me, that was really hard for me, is having very overly emotional responses to things. And this is not something that I by any means have gotten amazing at. I think it was a few months ago, I was playing against a player I don't like very much, who is known in the local community for kind of being a scumbag and a cheater. And, he tried to scumbag me, and I called him a scumbag to his face, and it just caused problems. And that's not the kind of thing that I want to do and be known for. And I was very upset when I said it, and it's very hard for me, in the heat of a moment, for me to dial back and not have emotional responses to things because of my disorder. And that's even though I'm medicated and I've been stable for years now. And being overly emotional in Magic can be really difficult, especially for somebody who's trying to be competitive, because, you have to think very analytically in Magic a lot of the time. The other thing is, we kind of talked about it earlier, but people can't see that you're sick when you have a mental disorder a lot of the times. So for me, I'm really loud, and people find that really annoying. And I have a hard time keeping friends because of it. And, when I got into the PTQ scene, when I started playing PTQs, there was a player who bribed one of my friends to concede to him so he could make top 8. And a judge had overheard something and asked me about it, and I told the judge what happened. And that player then tried to make my life a living heck, because hell, I'll just say, tried to make my life a living hell, because he felt like I had gotten him disqualified, which, I mean, he made the decision to bribe his opponent, but he felt like I was responsible. And because of some of the things that we talked about, as how loud I am and things like that, and just the kind of personality that I had back then, I've changed a lot since then, but people really latched on to him trying to get me into trouble. And later that year, I won states. That state's plaque behind me. I won the last state championship that was like the only state championship of the year, and I was really happy about it. And My last round opponent had conceded to me because there was an invitation to a TCG Player Invitational on the line, and he wasn't wanting to go. And his last opponent had been really upset because of they had gone to sudden death, and they didn't feel like it was announced or it was communicated very well to them. And so his opponent had been really harsh to him, and he was kind of done playing Magic for the day. And so he conceded to me, and that player that I had that had gotten DQ'd at that event that he had bribed someone had told that player's opponent that I had bribed him, that I had bribed my finals opponent, tried to get me in trouble. And it wasn't true, but for a long time there was a stigma around me that he called me scumbags. He would talk to me about me to anyone he could, and it was really hard. Magic, what had become like the sanctuary for me for my mental disorder, became a place that where I felt hated and not loved, and it was tough. It's hard when you are trying so hard to be normal, and sorry. It's hard when you're trying to be normal and you feel like it's slipping from your grasp, not because of something you can control. You can't control some of the things that are going through you. And, even though I had gone through those struggles in Magic, I have also used Magic to get better at dealing with those racing thoughts that I talked about and dealing with those emotionally charged responses that I have. Magic has become a great coping mechanism for me, and getting better at it and through a process has helped me put those processes into other parts of my life and really improve my life because of it. Magic, if you're going to improve at Magic, you have to be very good at self-recognition. And because of that, and because I wanted to improve so much at Magic through self-recognition, I've gotten better at self-recognition through life. And I've been able to look at a game of Magic and say, what did I do wrong? And I've done that so many times, and I've gotten so used to doing that I've also gotten better at doing that in life. I've used what I've learned to evaluate my Magic game and applied it into, well, why didn't I get this job? What did I do wrong? And, do that again and again and again and again. And eventually I've gotten a lot better. I think that most people don't know that I have bipolar disorder anymore. I think that they wouldn't even guess that I had a mental disorder. And, it's hard. It's hard to get myself to a place where that could be true, but it's definitely something that anybody could do. And, I remember feeling like one time Magic was my disorder was holding me back from ever qualifying for a pro tour. Having those huge emotional responses to it was in the top 8 of a PTQ, and in the old PTQ system, and I had gone undefeated through the Swiss. My deck was amazing. I was playing Jund with Blood Red Elf and Deathrite Shaman, and I had innovated to help me beat Storm, which was a really popular deck at the time with my sideboard. And I had beaten Storm twice throughout the tournament. I felt really good about it. I'd also had stuff for the Jund Mirror. I actually had Lotus Cobra and Thunder Mahalkite, and I had beaten Jund, and he just couldn't beat the Thunder Mahalkite. And I just remember feeling so good about it, and going to the top 8, my friend's like, oh, he's on blue-white, this is going to be a lock for you. So I quickly jammed my Lotus Cobra to have it Lightning Helix, and I was furious. I got all upset inside and also sad, and this huge emotional response to just this one play in a game of Magic. And after that, I was like, maybe I can't do this. Maybe because that was an unreasonable response to getting my creature Lightning Helixed, and he turned out, because he wasn't on blue-white, right? He had actually been on a different deck, and I had gotten so upset from being given the wrong information and then I look back on it and I think, maybe I can't do this Magic thing. Maybe I'll never be good enough because I have this disorder. And I remember going into the first RPTQ and going into the last round, I knew that I just needed to win to make top 8, and then I had one more round to go and get very close to qualifying for another Pro Tour, or qualifying for my first Pro Tour. And um, I had a setback where I played incorrectly against Mike Flores in the round before, and instead of getting upset about it, I just said, that happens. I know what I did wrong. I won't make that mistake next time. And through all of this time playing Magic and this self evaluation, I was able to play correctly in my last round, get to the final round, and eventually win that one, and qualify for my first Pro Tour through and with a completely different reaction to some of the things going on in the earlier tournaments that I had. And you might say, oh, you're just getting better at Magic. And no, I think I was actually just getting better at dealing with a problem that I personally had. And Magic helped me do that. And Magic was catapulted me to where I now am very happy in my job and things like that. And, I'm a father now, and I think I'm getting quieter as I have a son. And, that's it. And Magic, through that self-evaluation, has really taught me that. And the other thing that Magic has done, even though, like I said earlier, it's been hard to keep friends and make friends because of the kind of problems that I have, I've also been able to surround myself with amazing people. And everyone will tell you that in Magic is that it has the most amazing people, and it really does. I think that between Quentin, Manny, Matt, Casey, and probably now Michael and Danny, I'm so lucky to have surrounded myself with people who can, one, put up with me. I'm a hard guy to put up with, but two, I think that if I did something wrong or said something wrong to them or was too loud or too annoying, I think that they could tell me. And I think that for me, it's been important to not surround myself with people who not only put up with me, but are willing to help me improve and help me get better. If I did something to upset Quentin or Matt, they would tell me, and they would do it in a way that they know how to deal with me, and they would do it in the right way. And I don't think that I would have made friends like them outside of Magic, because we are all in this position where we want to get better together. And I think that it's such a wide scope outside of the game. And, it was hard for me to get over some of the shortcomings that I have through my mental disorder. I actually think that Magic has really helped me through those. So I hope that you, if you have a problem, can go to somebody and get help. And if you need help, reach out to me. I'm always happy to talk to anyone. And just know that even though it can be really hard, whatever you're going through, lots of people are going through stuff. And I'm sure that there's somebody out there who can feel your pain and will want to help you get better. And Magic is full of people like that. You're very lucky to be in a game where, there's kids that were picked on all throughout their lives, and they've come to Magic as a refuge, and they can be your refuge too. So thank you everybody for watching this week. Don't forget to check out our podcast on constructivecriticism.com and now on YouTube as well. I look forward to seeing you guys all next week. Shout out to the Fisher family. Losing somebody can be really hard, and may the force be with their family. And thank you everybody for watching. And sorry if it was too emotional of me. It's a hard video. I'm sure that this is gonna have some weird editing where it looks like I just got done crying, because I did. But I want everyone to know that there's somebody out there that will care about you and that will listen to you, and there's definitely help for you if you need it. And Magic is a great way for you to improve your life and cope with whatever you're dealing with. And you should use it as that, because it's a great resource in my life, and I have experienced it myself. So thank you everybody for watching. If you have any questions, leave a comment. I'm an open book. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have. If specifically about ways that, different coping skills that I use, I'd be happy to talk about those. If you just want to vent, you can reach out to me personally. My email's on our website at constructivecriticism.com. You can also tweet at me, join our Facebook group. But thank you, everybody. You can also go to patreon.com/ccmtg to support our content. And, starting at $1 or more per month, anything is appreciated. But we're always going to keep our content free for you guys. So thank you, everybody, and we'll see you guys all next time.